and it's absolutely incomparable. You could also say that it's fair or unfair to, well, I would say it's fair for us to also have a heaven that's eternal. Why would we be granted more than we could ever even ask for such a short life? And I also think this, right? If I were to, or this is kind of how I think about it. If we were to ask disbelievers, if you could live eternally, I was going to say immortality. I think that also counts. Eternally, this worldly life, would you ever come to belief? Would you ever worship God? Your answer is going to be no. Because why would you? There's no point in that, especially then, because there's no afterlife. The point of believing and devoting your life to God in these disciplines is that you believe that there's an afterlife and that there's consequence. So if you're a disbeliever, you don't believe in that. And so you would, for eternity, lead and live a life full of sins or, outside of worship. That's my main point, right? And too sad, too bad that death is guaranteed and there is a consequence and there is a judgment day. And you knowing this, instead of thinking, how can I be a winner? You're kind of just thinking, how can I cling on to my ways? Or how can I justify disbelief? So my thing for you would be, is to just sincerely ask if there is a God, if whatever religion is the right one, even if you don't say Islam, whatever religion is the right one, to truth and to guidance. Guide me. What does Mawlana Rumi say? What you seek is seeking you. You have to seek to win. You can't be thinking about, well, what if I go to hell and all these things? We talk about God's mercy more than we do talk about God's wrath. If you focus on that, if that's how you assume God to be, you might just find that to be how your life looks. Maybe miserable, maybe full of consequence or hardship. And that continues on. So that's how I think about it. I think that's fair. 100%. What do you think on, quote, angel numbers? I think it's still a sign of Allah. So again, I think these are subconscious beliefs. Like if you believe angel numbers, because like what evidence do we have for that, right? Like I could speak on other things like maybe frequency, tunes, or forks. Like I have one. Because these things do actually resonate with certain frequencies. So like maybe change, maybe growth, maybe pain relief. So what evidence do we have for, I believe in numerology, I'll tell you that, but I don't know what evidence we have for angel numbers. So I don't know about that. Where are you from, my sister? I am Canadian. I'm ethnically Turkish. Subhanallah, ukhti. Does ukhti mean sister? Appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna scroll to the bottom. You guys bear with me. Let me find the comments. Did Canada break fast? Yeah, it's 9 p.m. here. Do you think the day of judgment is near? Yeah, I think also the Armageddon, I think World War III is near. From a spiritual religious lens, we look at our hadiths, we look at hadiths, we even look at other religious texts. We know we're in the end times, right? Thank you for the rose. We know we're in the end times. And from some of the wealthiest people on earth, we're told that World War III is approaching, like from an economic, political standpoint. We know that it's coming. And so if we know that World War III is coming, we know that Dajjal and the ascension of Prophet Isa and Mehdi alayhi salam is also on the way. So yeah, I think it's nearer than we think, I believe. Do you think people who are not that good of Muslims will still go to heaven? Yeah. There's levels to heaven though. In Islam we know that there's levels to heaven. And the closest awliyaullah, who are referred to as being the friends of Allah and prophets, and the Sabiquns, which were the firsts of Islam, because it's exceptional, right, to believe in Islam before anyone did, their rank is going to be higher. Whereas if you're, someone average, but maybe you fulfilled your basic, obligatory, bare minimum practices and you believed in God, then they're still saving for you. So, but our goal is to always do more, right? So, always opt for more. Is my camera shaking when I scroll? Because my phone's on a standpoint. Why do you advocate for a religion that promotes and forces a child to marry a full grown? So there's actually no promotion anywhere, and especially not in Hadith or the Quran. But especially when it comes to Hadith, where does it promote that? You need to tell me that. You can't just say things and then not provide the evidence for that. Forcing is also really interesting to use here, because Allah says in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow, second chapter of the Quran, that there is no compulsion in religion, for truth stands out from falsehood. So, are you talking about culture, or are you talking about religion? Let's not mix those up. And if you're wondering, we're against that as well. I come some you guys to those joining. We have 100 people in here around. Why are you personally wearing the hijab, and what are your tips for someone thinking about wearing the hijab? Okay, you guys, you know why I love the hijab? Because number one, obviously it's for the sake of God. On a personal level, it's about preserving, it's actually about resistance, right? Like resistance to the male gaze, to societal beauty standards for women that keep women enslaved, which actually is what's actually oppressing as an ideology. And in terms of my, where I stand traditionally and in my religious ways, I think it's a form of resistance in the way that I'm proud of preserving my identity and being perceived as a Muslim by other Muslims or even people who aren't. And I would also say that I'm very proud of provoking Islamophobes. Like, I love when they're irritated. Like, when they see me and they're irritated, they see Muslims dressing the way that we do confidently here in the West, because we have this religious freedom, as we should, right? They're provoked by it. There's even some people who come to their own faith because they're competing with you, because they're looking at you thinking this person's so disciplined. They're dressing in a way that is devout to God. It inspires them. They're reminded of their own God and their own religion, and that inspires them to lock in a bit harder. So, as for what I would say for tips, that's like my personal reason. I don't really talk about like why I wear the hijab and these things, but that's just kind of where I stand with and how I perceive it. But my tips for someone wearing it, I would say go for jersey and modal as like a fabric. Invest in good undercaps too, because that's going to help you with like migraines and whatnot. Don't buy jersey undercaps, get bamboo, or there's even algae undercap now. I have an algae undercap. Isn't that so cool? An undercap made of moss. It's really cool. Okay, I'm gonna scroll to the bottom. Someone said Zara Larson. That's interesting. Do you think that if there was no heaven or hell that people would believe in God? No, and that was what I was talking about to the person who was asking previously. Do you think that people who are disbelievers deserve hell? And it's like, to say that someone deserves hell is like saying, I believe that they should be there. And it's like, you can't say that you can't say that to anyone, like, yeah, I want you to be in hell. Like, I want you to go there. But in terms of what we reap, right? Like, this goes in the Bible as well. You reap what you sow. You're responsible for you. I'm not responsible for you. I'm not coming with you on the day of judgment. So, everyone's going to face their own consequences. But yeah, that's about that. I can't believe it's nearly Eid soon. Yeah,